The following program is presented in its original form. It may contain some content that does not reflect Hirotaku or Raju Nihon's corporate views and may not be suitable for all viewers. WRW characters are online nerds with entitlement issues and believe that they have a say in anything produced by their worship. You can block access to all programs and others like it using the parental controls in your WRW accounts. Wait a minute, we don't have those.
This is WRW, We Rule Wrestling. Hirotaku, Raijo Nihon, Tokyo Anime News' only wrestling podcast at this time and probably in all eternity. Anyways, this is our fourth season. This is season 4's episode 3. I'm your host, Wheelchair21, and joining me tonight is the not-so-lovable Visible Ninja.
Yo, 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 what's up?
Alright, on today's show, we'll have 2 discussion topics. But first off, we're going to lead with the news. Visible Ninja, What do we got this week in news?
Some great stuff, believe it or not. Going back to the beginning. Looks like, that's right, folks, WWE is applying for a new trademark, specifically for the trademark involving the old clique hand gesture. You know, the infamous, somewhat also known as the Wolfpack gesture. Now, this is kind of seen as a stab at the New Japan wrestling stable Bullet Club, as they use an extremely similar gesture. It remains to be seen how WWE is going to move forward, or whether or not they'll be granted it, though I don't see why they wouldn't. So we're going to have to wait and see where things go from there. Elsewhere, we have some updates on who's going to be in this year's WrestleMania Intercontinental Title Ladder Match Royale. That's right, folks, Daniel Bryan entered himself in this week. In addition, the full list is currently Daniel Bryan, Dolph Ziggler, R-Truth, Dean Ambrose, Luke Harper, Stardust, and current champion, though not title belt holder, Bad News Barrett. That's the whole thing in on itself, actually. And yes, folks, it looks like despite what some inklings, we really probably won't be seeing Undertaker until WrestleMania 31. There's some speculation that he might show up on a Raw leading up to Mania, however, it now appears that that's not going to happen. Also, it appears that Sheamus will be making his grand return at WrestleMania, possibly in either the Intercontinental title ladder match or in the Andre the Giant Battle Royale. Hell, he might actually take place in both, for all we know. Elsewhere, Rey Mysterio recently gave an interview where he revealed why he actually left the company. It seems after he came back from his last major surgery in 2001, he kept getting paired with Sin Cara as a tag team, and as a result, he feel like he didn't really advance his character any. So when his contract came up, he just didn't resign. Obviously, Rey also addressed rumors that he will be going to work for Lucha Underground, and he revealed that if he does, he's going to go full core, because one of Rey's lifelong missions has always been to take Lucha Libre worldwide. So the best of luck to Rey and his future endeavors. Elsewhere, it looks like Vince has got himself a bit of a pay raise. That's right, folks. Recently, in a shareholders meeting issued this week, Vince McMahon's salary has been increased from $1.184 million to $1.25 million. And apparently Triple H has also got a pay increase from $550,000 a year to $577,500 a year. So there you go, folks. Not only is Big Papa, Big Vinnie Mac earning a bit more, but so is Trips. And they're actually earning a lot less than I figured they might. But, hey, you know, times are tight all around. Elsewhere, WWE has actually contacted a casting agency in California to hire some extras who will play a pivotal role during one of the entrances of WrestleMania 31. Reportedly, these extras will be playing scarecrows. Now, it's widely rumored that they'll be used either during Bray Wyatt's entrance or for Sting's entrance, but it remains to be seen who they'll be used for and in what capacity. And that's it for the news this week. Any thoughts, Chairman?
So the fact that Sheamus and Taker being saved up for Mania, probably a good idea, but it's probably bad for Sheamus more that it doesn't say when he's returning, so I guess they're trying to use it as a surprise WrestleMania moment and give Sheamus most likely a win in the Andre the Giant Battle Royale. However, if they do put him in the IC title match, I think he, like Daniel Bryan would be one of the few guys that needs that belt to become a Grand Slam champion. I think Sheamus has already been a tag team champion, but I could be wrong. I don't recall when he's been a tag team champion, but I could be wrong if he even held that belt. The IC ladder match in general, I find it funny that it's just a kind of a...
No, he is not.
Okay, yeah, no, not a tag match. Okay, so the funny thing I find out about the ladder match is it's just a cop-out because they don't have money in the bank anymore, and it's a way to make the ladder match relevant again because, think about it, the ladder match helped define IC title matches in the past before. Like, when the IC title needed a way to differentiate, a rivalry, it's always ended in a ladder match most of the time. The ladder match is like the defining thing for the IC thing, so what you do is you take a lot of contenders for it, put it together, and you got one hell of a match. As for Vince getting more money, and the reason Ray left, it's kind of expected, but I thought there was more to it than just that. I'm pretty sure we'll find out in more interviews. But nevertheless, good luck in his future endeavors. At least it didn't end like other people's careers did.
Mm-hmm.
Visible Ninja, your thoughts on said news?
As for Taker and Sheamus rather being kept off until Mania, I'll also agree it's probably a good thing. It's definitely to build up hype for both of them. I mean, Taker, in the past few years, has always been kind of better saved for pay-per-views or for like other special events. So, with Mania being, the ultimate kind of pay-per-view, it would make sense for him to save him for that. Especially, since Taker's probably in the, well, I don't want to say he's in the twilight of his career, but let's just say the end is possibly near. So they're probably going to save it. They're going to save him up and only use him, when they absolutely have to, which is probably a good idea. As for Sheamus, once again, it's all to build hype. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing him, like I said, either in the IC ladder match or the Andre the Giant Battle Royale, or possibly even both, which would actually be kind of awesome if he was actually in both. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. As for the extras thing, once again, since, Scarecrows, it would fit right in with Bray Wyatt and his whole kind of creepy, kind of hillbilly cult leader kind of thing. Mind you, it also might factor into Sting, once again, with kind of the darkness and the kind of the crow thing.
And no parents.
And no parents. Yeah. It could play into either of them, or it might not be used for either of them. It might be somebody else. Like, who knows? But those are probably the two better bets. So, yeah. As for Ray, again, I don't blame him for kind of feeling like the company wasn't really pushing his character that much, since he was just kept being paired together with Sin Cara, and this was bad Sin Cara, not half competent Sin Cara, I believe. So, yeah. Once again, don't blame him. And again, we wish him luck, especially if he goes to Lucha Underground, because he'll really his talent will really elevate.
He'll at least make it somewhat legitimate, even though it's faker than fuck.
Exactly. Rumors are China's going to Lucha Underground too, so there you go. But yeah, again, definitely all the best to Ray, and I hope he does good, because he is a very talented guy, and he definitely deserves better than what WWE have been doing with him recently. So that's all great. And elsewhere, I guess really the only other thing I have to talk about is probably Vince. So Vince is getting himself a bit of a raise, and so is Trips. And like I said, I'm actually surprised that Trips is only earning like not even $600,000 a year as a head of talent development and relations, I believe. But then again, that's just like his corporate job, though. I'm sure he makes a handy sum as is being assigned talent as well as the merch and everything. So yeah, that's just the money he gets from his corporate job. As for Vince, and again, Vince doesn't earn as much as I figured he would, since his yearly salary is now up to like 1.2 mil, which is unfortunate, but hey, whatever. That's about all I have to say about the news. And back over to...
let's ask Project what he thinks about it.
That's his projects here, yeah. What do you think?
I thought the extras were supposed to be hired for Rusev.
No, there's also supposedly extras for that, but we didn't really touch on that. The soldiers thing.
Let's see. Yeah, I'm surprised that Triple H makes that little. I thought he would make more. I'm a little surprised about that.
Everybody's surprised, I think, about that.
And I know, right? You think he'd be making at least $800,000?
Somewhere around there.
But we're not taking into account what Visible Ninja said: merchandise, his his contract as a performer. Because I think you can get 2 paychecks for that, right? I think Stephanie does both, right?
Yeah, she cheated that system.
Yeah, so she's doing that system where she's also an on-air performer as well as the head of storylines or whatever, the head writer or whatever she does.
If Stephanie didn't start bulking up, she would have never thought of re-signing again as an in-ring performer.
She looks fine, though.
I know, that's all I'm saying, though.
Damn.
We're all going to get visited by the camera tonight.
Let's see what else. I think with Ray leaving, they couldn't really do much with him anymore. Plus, there's a lot younger guys who can do more stuff than he does at this point. And he's pretty much winding down, so he doesn't really do the stuff he used to be able to do. So, more power to him than going to Lucha Underground. Hopefully, he can revitalize his career there, and maybe in a couple of years, Hall of Fame induction.
And maybe he can make Lucha Underground.
It's not like he left on bad terms.
No, he didn't leave on bad terms like other people.
And he's not talking shit about WWE. All he was just use them.
Hey guys, how'd you like the recent signing in developmental?
So, unless he does a weird. So unless Ray says something stupid where like he does a shoot interview where he's bashing WWE, I'm sure we'll see a Hall of Fame induction in a couple of years.
Oh yeah, I can agree with that. Is that all you had to say?
That's it, yeah.
All right then. So Visible Ninja, I guess we'll go to our first discussion topic, which you actually came up with. So how about you tell us about this idea of the discussion? Why we're a little disgruntled and why we're a little irked, why we're a little clueless.
Yeah, so that new thing that they've added to the ring that we're all a little miffed at. That's kind of weird because when they use it, it's totally out of place. That's right, folks.
You mean
it's
the camera?
The ring post camera. Because seriously, like when they suddenly cut, like it's a sudden kind of picture shift to it, like the quality just suddenly drops and it almost looks kind of like eerily like realistic, and like it's kind of weird seeing the wrestlers like that up close and personal with their heads kind of like almost bouncing off the camera. It's just kind of weird and it's kind of it's off, I think.
I was the first one to figure out something was wrong when we were watching
Hey, Visible Ninja. Here's one thing Impact Wrestling. Here's something I'm gonna say this once. Impact can be proud because one thing that WWE's taken one of their ideas, bad idea. They made a bad idea. They Impact Wrestling that one.
Yeah, because remember they had the referee cam.
the stupid helmet.
Yeah, they took the referee cam and made it the ring post cam. The ring post cam was brought in during Fastlane, but even I thought that was stupid. It makes the ring post taller and bigger, and it actually could be more dangerous to a superstar, especially when they're doing snake eyes. It actually also helps the bigger superstars for when they're climbing the ropes, so at least they can do their high flying moves, so that means at least Big Show can be prevalent again of doing drop kicks from the top rope. The one thing that Big Show actually could do when he first started his career, and he rarely does unless he's fighting Mark Henry or Kane. Yeah, remember that when Big Show used to do that? Drop kicks, scare the crap out of everyone.
Oh yeah, his knees can't handle that shit anymore.
Either from the top rope, or from the top rope.
Yeah, all I can say is I don't like the idea that they brought that idea in. I don't see the point of having it except for when we almost saw Paige's wardrobe malfunction firsthand. That was the only good reason to have that camera. I mean, she went in there head first.
The camera they have on the top of the ladder.
You faded out? The camera at the top.
Well, the only good idea with cameras I like it. Yeah, when they have ladder matches or they have Money in the Banks or titles, they have the camera at the top of the goddamn the thing so you can see them climb up and shit.
Yeah.
That's the only camera I like when they do up close shit like that. That's the only thing that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes more sense. The turnbuckle cam's kind of stupid. Like I said, it's only good for wardrobe malfunctions, which we actually had one the debut of the fucking camera system. But that was about it. There's no need to have it. I mean, plus, if you have that camera there, we're going to figure out how more fake wrestling is, because they'll one day pan to it one day, and the microphone will pick up, hey, I want you to hit me with a superplex now. And I'm going to be like, and there goes kayfabe even more. I think
You mean when John Cena was talking to himself in Fastlane?
Doesn't John Cena talk to himself all the time, though, in all of his matches? I mean...
Yeah, but we picked up him talking to himself out loud.
But everyone does. I mean, Botchamania is good at doing that. It's funny, though, how Botchamania is able to turn up the volume. Has anyone ever noticed that they're able to...
It's called... They have a very good... They have a very AV guy.
I know, right? Because they're able to actually increase the audio so we actually hear what they were saying there. It's as if they were there at the arena copying the audio from inside the, WWE trucks. Because there's times where, I'm watching it and you can't even hear it, even if you play it back or mix it with audios. You should not even be able to get that crystal clear with the original recording. But somehow they're able to. Which is kind of what...
Their audio guy is a... Or the AV guy for Botchamania works for WWE, and WWE doesn't know it.
I'm pretty sure he works for WWE, because how the frick do they get away with all that crap that you can actually straight up hear? I mean, there's been times where I haven't even heard him saying any of those things. I see him wording it. You find out what?
Here's my theory. What if Botchamania is a WWE subsite that we don't know about?
Or something Triple H has been hiding from everyone else.
It's a subsite for WWE. That's how they make the more online revenue.
and then here's the sad part, Project. But at the same time, freaking what's his face? Cassius Ohno doesn't know that either. So every time he's talking shit about somebody, he doesn't realize he's actually helping WWE more. It makes sense now. It makes clear sense.
Total sense.
It's all there, man. Makes perfect sense, man. There's an inside job going on. It's a screw job. It's a screw job.
Botchamania's WWE website. WRW call it now. If it ever comes out that we find out they're related, yeah.
When the higher power is revealed as them, yeah. We called it now.
It was me.
Joey Styles. It was me all along.
Oh my god.
Joey Styles.
You know what the worst part is if someone heard this episode and then told Joey Styles, we all get messages. How do you guys know? We didn't. We just guessed.
How'd you know? We just took a guess. How did you know it was me? Well, who else would it be?
Paul Heyman.
Remember, he does run their digital. He runs their digital media division, correct?
Exactly. So somebody on the inside is getting that crap.
Who else would make that?
I feel like tweeting that shit out now. Joey Styles is the reason Botchamania exists.
Yes. Oh, this got horribly off topic fast.
Oh, yeah.
But long story short, yeah, the cameras, I don't like them. But if you like them, then okay, that's cool.
Oh my god, yeah, screw those cameras.
That's about it. I know it was kind of tenuous, but we kind of,
only camera The only thing that can support a camera like that is Nikki Bella's boob.
And that's when, instead of the camo hammer, we're all visited by camo Cena. Alright then, Visible Ninja, read the Raw card.
Yes, my lord.
Did we talk about Total Divas here this podcast?
Wait, what happened?
Did we talk about Total Divas in this podcast?
Not as much.
Okay.
So to start off, kind of. Okay, it starts off with the Orton Authority promo, since Orton's kind of maybe still with the Authority, but not really, since they're kind of playing it out. They're playing it, even though it's obviously he's probably going to turn heel, turn face rather pretty soon. But it remains to be seen. Really, it was a decent promo, but yeah, let's just say punk bitches. Ooh. Anyways, next up was the first match, which is Daniel Bryan versus Bad News Barrett, with Daniel Bryan taking Barrett down with a pin, setting up something that would happen later on in the week. Elsewhere, we've got match 2, which is Dean Ambrose versus Stardust, with Dean Ambrose taking down that Cody Rhodes SOB. Next up, we had Paul Heyman cutting a very Heyman-esque promo, which was always great. And, with some, with a little bit less microphone cutting out this time, which was, as always, kind of good. We got a decent wide promo, love it or hate it, whatever. Next up was Kane and Big Show, since, those two are kind of a team now, versus Ryback and Eric Rowan. With Ryback and Eric Rowan managing to take the big boys down with a pin, since, they're hilariously bad as a tag team, because it's a thing. Anyways, next up we had Steph kind of basically chewing Show and Kane out, basically telling them to GTFO if they can't do their jobs. We had Miz and Wiz Khalifa, who was, our guests this week, which was, whatever. Anyways, match 4 was Divas match, was AJ versus Summer Rae. Of course, AJ made Summer Rae tap out like the bitch she is. We got a pretty good Sting promo, admittedly. Rusev and Cena kind of had a showdown backstage, which once again would set up things to come, which would be interesting. Next up, we had Rusev versus, Axelmania. Axel actually did manage to survive a bit longer than I thought he would, though Rusev still made him tap out. Then Cena struck, and Cena struck hard. And I'm talking like a ruthless aggression Cena hard, wherein he was about ready to kill Rusev outright, to the point where Lana basically had to beg and plead with John, eventually acquiescing to giving him his rematch at WrestleMania. And he didn't stop. He kept going, and yeah, let's just say Rusev almost needed a freaking neck brace there. And needless to say, afterwards, Rusev was not happy with the fact that Lana basically had to save his ass. Next up, we had, excuse me. Next up, we had New Day versus Kid and Cesaro, since, they kind of need a, name. New Day actually took down Kid and Cesaro with a pin, kind of killing their roll streak, which bizarrely transitioned to a match with Naomi versus Natalya, with Naomi giving Natty the rear view with a pin, which then oddly transitioned into a match of the Usos versus Los Matadores. And I'm kind of, thanking God that it didn't kind of morph from there, which was great. We had a good Bray Taker promo, which Taker, quote-unquote, accepted Bray's challenge at WrestleMania, which is great. We got our main event of the evening, which was kind of a three-way between Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and Randy Orton. And let's just say Roman proved that he was Leo Mon, and he basically fisted the Beast King to everybody for the pin. And that was Raw this week.
You forgot the best part.
What?
Randy Orton destroyed Seth Rollins.
Destroyed implies that, that there's a bit of him left. But no, man, he pretty well annihilated Seth Rollins.
Yeah, so Project, what were your thoughts on Raw?
The tag team clusterfuck was a bit of a mess. So, yeah, that's my first thought on that. Randy Orton destroying Seth Rollins, too early. Basically, WWE busted a nut on that feud really, really early. Because I think Randy Orton delivered that beatdown on WrestleMania instead of, let out it for free on Raw. You know, beat him up, RKO him once, and then call it a night and then say, I'm not done with you yet. I'll see you at WrestleMania or something. They could have set up the match that way. What else? John Cena destroying Rusev. I think Rusev should not have tapped out at all. He should have just passed out as well, because they bust the nut on that one too, because Rusev should have tapped out at WrestleMania. He was going to tap out. So that was a waste. Let's say Lana's a pretty decent actress, because she can emote while using that Russian accent, so I'll give her props on that one. Other than that, yeah, it was a halfway decent Raw. But I think they prematurely did some stuff too early.
Oh, the Orton promo with the Authority, I thought that was kind of weird and stupid. The fact that he kind of just punked them out for later when he actually got them and they were all freaking out. The opening matches and with the IC title belt and the tag.
He told him exactly.
What?
He told him exactly what he was going to do, and he did it, which is kind of funny.
Yeah, he straight up said it, which was great. Okay, so what I liked, though, was the matches were rolling into each other, which was a cluster F in itself. But, they kept rolling into each other. The IC title matches rolled into the next one, rolled into the next one. The tag team turmoil was rolling into one another. and it was really just helping to set up, WrestleMania. Right now, like, the mid-card's been setting up the mid-card matches, but, like, their main event matches aren't really solidifying. I mean, as Project said, I kind of see where he was going with the whole Cena ruthless aggression on Rusev. Like, Rusev freaked out, but at the same time, like, I can see why he may be tapped, because they've done that before in other storylines, which is WWE's stupid standpoint of the guy will tap if it's not an official match, but if it is an official match, they won't tap whatsoever. They won't even do anything. It's one of those weird standpoints where they're weak when the bell hasn't rung. It's one of those weird standpoints. The Sting promo was cool. It was just weird with the whole voice thing. I was not a huge fan of the early Wyatt promo until the end when he did the whole thing with the urn and Undertaker's pseudo showed up, with the presence of the rest in peace and lighting the chair on fire where you could see the pan underneath that was causing the fire to erupt. I found that amusing and hilarious at the same time. The whole main event was stupid until, like I said, everyone will say, until Orton destroyed Seth Rollins when he annihilated him. I mean, it was great. Yeah, it kind of killed the push, but I think it was the only reason to try to help solidify Seth as a big deal, especially after, he had some small comeuppance in his life. But over to you, Visible Ninja, on your thoughts for Raw.
Thank you, good sir. Well, I gotta say, yeah, they're really pushing the whole kind of Orton kind of is still with the Authority, but he isn't thing a bit far. But then again, Orton's not quite made it clear which way he's going to swing just yet. So I'm guessing they're probably maybe keeping that under their hats for Mania, when he's going to finally turn, full on face possibly. Or, pull a swerve and go full on heel again and be, anti-Authority still. So we're going to have to wait and see. Matches overall this week were okay. I mean, Bryan versus Bad News Barrett was pretty damn good. Ambrose or Stardust could have been better, but hey, whatever. Kane and Big Slow versus Ryback and Rowan was just, I don't want to say it was painful to watch, but just stop pairing Kane and Big Show together. I mean, my God. Just no. AJ versus Summer Rae was entertaining, as entertaining as a short Divas match can be. Rusev Axel was all right. The aftermath was what kind of really solidified that one in this card, though. New Day Tyson was Naomi versus Natalia, meh. Usos Matadors, meh. Roman, Seth, and Orton was great, mainly because of Randy completely and utterly destroying Seth. Once again, kind of throwing into the question where exactly he stands with the Authority. And of course, Roman is just being Roman. But we did get some good promos. Like I said, the whole thing with Cena and Rusev, basically Cena almost killing Rusev and Lana having to acquiesce, and Rusev kind of being pissed about it after the fact. I thought that was really good. I loved Heyman's promo too. Yeah, like this Raw was decent, but the promos were probably better than the matches in my opinion. And even then, like I said, it was okay, but it wasn't exactly stellar in my opinion.
Yeah, that was the confusing part. Like the matches rolled into each other well, but it was like just how I should say, not unorganized, but not original to how WWE is as of late. It was kind of like a throwback to the old days, like Attitude Era or the early aggressive, like the, not ruthless aggressive. What do they call the era before the Attitude Era project?
I believe they call it
the New Generation era.
New Generation, yeah.
The New Generation era.
Yeah, well, the New Generation era and the Attitude Era did that shit where like a match would roll into another match, which was setting up some kind of like feud. But like we haven't seen that in a long, long time. And it's like been the only time.
That's how it should have been. It should set up a feud.
Like the WWE straight up did that with the ladder match and the tag team championship, but everything else has been just like thrown together or pre-planned like months in advance.
Didn't they set up a feud back in like is it Ruthless Aggression when Brock and Rock? Remember that? Did they set up a feud that way, like when Brock interrupts the Rock when he's like coming back to the ring or something, leaving the ring?
Something like that.
Did that happen? Does anyone remember?
I don't remember.
Like, you know what I mean? They run into each other, up with each other, saying they feud.
It was something like that because he was the champion and Brock won King of the Ring, which made him the number one contender. Bullcrap. It was one of those things. But we got to move over to NXT. The Wednesday night show because NXT, yo. So NXT, we actually had barely any promos whatsoever or interviews. We actually had 4 straight up matches. Enzo and Colin versus the Lucha Dragons to become the number 1 contenders for the tag team championship. They beat the Lucha Dragons, Enzo Amore and Colin Cassidy via pinfall. Pretty much Colin did a lot of the Colin Cassidy did the closing. Enzo did probably the opening work. Colin just wrecked house. Match 2 had Carmella versus Alexa Bliss, with Alexa Bliss return with a pinfall victory. You had CJ Perkins versus the return to the ring for Alex Riley. Alex Riley picked up the pinfall, and then him and Owens had kind of like a standoff because they're going to fight each other. Him and Kevin Owens next week. They're going to have this huge brawl, I hear. Match 4, Tyler Breeze and Hideo Itami. Tyler Breeze actually beats Hideo Itami via pinfall, and it was actually out of nowhere. This whole feud actually was going Hideo or Kenta's way, but then boom, Breeze just won this match, and I don't know if that's the end of the feud. I'm pretty sure this is going to carry on for a couple of more weeks, but yeah, I'm actually kind of interested now, the fact that Tyler Breeze is not getting his ass whooped every time they run into each other. But this week was kind of weird. I think the only thing that was the high point was Alex Riley's return and Breeze having an upset victory over Hideo. Other than that, it's been basic setup. Bliss versus Sasha Banks. Colin and Enzo going after Blake and Murphy, who are the new tag champions. And that's about it. Anyone else here seen NXT? Anyone else have any thoughts?
Sounds like a sexy
Sorry, I don't have
show.
the
Wish I
network
could
in
watch
Canada
it.
here, so you know, fucking bullshit.
Someone's sad because he can't watch the show.
Well, hey, the network isn't available on my cable provider yet, although it will apparently sometime this month. So.
Yeah, take that, Canada.
I'll turn it to goddamn Netflix. Okay, WWE, turn it to Netflix. This is what happens when we got NXT for free before. Okay, they're kicking our ass. Karma, man.
You used to have NXT. Now
When NXT got good, we lost access to NXT.
We lost NXT and we got main event instead, and that's just not worth it.
Sucks to be you guys. And you guys have to pay $11.99. I have to pay $9.99.
Anyways, Daniel Bryan announced that he's putting himself into the Intercontinental ladder match at WrestleMania, since, he can't really recreate his big WrestleMania moment last year. He still wants in Mania, so there you go. And we kind of learned that in the news, though. First match of the evening was New Day versus Usos and Los Matadors versus Cesaro Kid in kind of a three-way tag match, cluster F. And yeah, let's just say that the Matadors managed to pull out a pin, which is kind of sad since this entire match was just a complete cluster F, and it was no fun for anybody involved. Match 2 was Ryback versus Miz, which, surprise, surprise, Miz gets his ass shell-shocked for the win. While Miz now watches backstage, soaking in the saltiness. Since he pretty well knows that, people love him more than Miz now. Roman cut a promo, which was decent, just kind of talking about his road and such. Match 3 was a Divas tag match of AJ Lee and Paige versus Cameron and Summer Rae. Surprise, surprise, Paige hits the PTO and gets the submission on Summer Rae again. So there you go. And we get some more cavorting with AJ and Paige since they're, kind of frenemies now still. Orton gave an interview, which was somewhat decent as far as things go. And our main event, because we only got 4 matches on this card, was Daniel Bryan, Dolph Ziggler, and Dean Ambrose versus Luke Harper, Stardust, and Bad News Barrett. And yeah, this was probably one of the matches of the week in my opinion, because we got some great talent up there, and they went to town. Especially when we got kind of a three-man kind of dive out of the ring kind of going there. But in the end, Ziggler almost stole the show, though it was still Daniel Bryan who hit the pin. And with Ziggler basically kind of cockily, joking about, he's going to be the one who's going to win the title at Mania. Because he's getting in the ladder match as well, so. There you go, folks. We got a good setup for the IC title match. Things are really heating up, and that was your SmackDown for this week.
Anyways, I'll give my thoughts. SmackDown, the opening promo was great. The final match was great. Everything in between kind of was crap. I like that Mark Henry returned for the Roman Reigns promo, only to get destroyed. Mark Henry will be in the Andre the Giant Battle Royale, which is pretty interesting and great. But I'm really loving the IC title match, IC ladder match at WrestleMania hype. It's really great. It has a lot of good names to the match, and it's going to be interesting and awesome. I gotta say, the promo at the end kind of caught me by surprise with Dean Ambrose, Dolph Ziggler, and Daniel Bryan kind of doing like an old Federation-like interview in the ring right after it's over to end the show. I wasn't expecting that whatsoever. And I just love how they called him a turd. I found it amusing, especially because, the IWC loves all three of these guys, and two of them was like, yeah, D. Bryan's the turd. And I was like, yeah, wait till the IWC gets a wind of this. And nothing bad has happened, which was shocking. Visible Ninja, your thoughts?
Okay, thank you very much. Well, yeah, like you said, this week wasn't exactly stellar in WWE. Like I said, Raw had great promos, kind of weak sauce matches. SmackDown, unfortunately, once again, had weak matches. I mean, ultimately, we did get an okay Divas match. I thought it was better than the one on Raw. Not to mention the main event was actually quite good, and again, is building towards the IC ladder match, which is probably going to be really damn awesome. But otherwise, SmackDown was fairly uneventful. I mean, the whole kind of tag team mess was uninteresting. Ryback versus Miz didn't really catch me. The Roman Reigns promo was all right. The Orton interview, once again, was all right. And Bryan entering himself to the IC title, into the IC ladder match, was just pretty much that. So, I didn't really feel SmackDown this week, although it did have a very good main event, which I feel like, once again, was one of the matches of the week. But otherwise, it just kind of didn't really do it for me. It was just weak sauce.
So would you say that Raw or NXT was the strongest show?
Well, considering the fact that I've only seen one of those, I would have to say Raw. But like I said, even then, Raw wasn't exactly, a stellar one this week.
Indeed. So, before we go to our final discussion topic, we have our Superstar of the Week, which is, ironically, the turd stain, Daniel Bryan.
Oh, he's a turd stain now?
Well, that's what, Ambrose and Ziggler said, and I will not disagree with two popular superstars.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. Yeah, because we really wouldn't, because DB has never been a Superstar of the Week, mainly because we instituted it after, he kind of got severely injured and was gone for several months, so... Yeah, this is DB's first turn at being Superstar of the Week, because once again, he pulled out some decent matches. And again, he pulled out probably the only real good thing about SmackDown this week. Was that six-man match, so yeah.
Well, it wasn't just him, it was the other guys.
Well, no, there was Ambrose and Ziggler too, but DB definitely pulled out all the stops, though.
And don't forget, he also had, that great match with Bad News Barrett on Raw.
That's true, too, yeah. That was also a good, that was also a decent match, too, yeah.
Yeah, because, Bad News Barrett actually grew a pair and learned how to wrestle, finally. Learned how to wrestle.
Well, at least we know the problem wasn't Alicia Fox.
Oh, burn.
and shots fired.
Unless they're back together, in which case he's wrestling better because they're back together, or I don't know.
A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B, a little bit of column
not. He's already with somebody else.
Good. Who is it with?
Well, we've all seen how much Titty Master's come along since she's been dating Renee. So
Project, who is he dating now?
I don't think he's a diva. She's not in the business.
Well, that's a smart move, That's a smart move. Then she won't know if you're cheating on her. Taking the rule book of John Cena. John Cena teaches you good things about how to get away with cheating in wrestling.
He does.
But, yeah, we're going to go to our last discussion topic, which was actually introduced to us by Otaku Gangsta, who could not be here tonight because he's Otaku Gangsta. He's doing some gangster-ass shit right now. And that's because, has anyone noticed that NXT has gotten a little bit too indie lately? or should we say a little bit too pro wrestling? Yeah, stuff's hit the
You mean
fan.
ROH? ROH?
Yeah, a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. Yeah, so now,
This is gonna be blatant with it.
yeah, it's pretty much ROH times 2. Yeah. Because, yeah,
Yep.
things, especially the fact that Samoa Joe is most likely coming to the WWE. Is most likely.
Hey, Wheels, your other tag team that you said would never go to WWE are being looked at by WWE
I know,
right
which
now.
is shocking. Because you would think with their disgusting look, they would never get hired.
And think about it for a minute. If the Bushwhackers are going to get elected to the Hall of Fame, I'm sure the Briscoes have a shot of getting to WWE.
Now they do. Now they do. But, Visible Ninja, would you like to talk about this briefly? Since you have nothing to say really about these indie wrestlers?
Next thing you know, Wheels, they might have your favorite tag team.
Yeah.
Shut up,
Too
Metal.
sweet me, bro.
Metal, the project go to hell?
Too
No?
sweet me, bro.
Okay, Metal, what are your thoughts on NXT, becoming all indie-fied?
Well, it's not a bad thing. I mean, these guys coming, like I said, Samoa Joe might be coming. Joe, he's been around the block more times than we can count. The Briscoes, again, like they've been around longer than hell, and I'm sure they could really bring some really a real good fire to NXT. It really seems like Trips is doing this intentionally, I think, because he's realizing, the good value that products like ROH, like Lucha Underground. Well, maybe not really Lucha.
Lucha Underground doesn't count. Nope.
Okay. I was gonna correct myself there.
They don't exist.
You're thinking of Dragon Gate, Chikara,
Dragon Gate, Chikara. Yeah, Dragon's Gate,
New Japan.
Chikara. Especially the pro wrestler guys, because a lot of the indie guys I know go over there. Like a certain Styles Clashu.
Don't forget, Visible Ninja. NXT already has Kevin Owens,
Yeah.
El Generico, Prince Devitt, Kenta, Adrian Neville.
Yeah, I mean they already have some pretty hard hitting indie stars, so why not go after some more? I mean, Tripp seems to do this intentionally because he probably wants to replicate the kind of product that ROH has going. Very talented, a very talented roster that is held by some very good personalities. Ones that he could probably work with to maybe refine some of their, maybe some of them could use a bit more, in-ring work. Maybe a bit. Some of them could work on their mic skills a bit. And I'm sure Trips is probably saying,
Well,
okay,
they're on-screen personas.
yeah. If Tripp says, "Oh, I can help them work on that," then we could have some gold that we could shoot up to the main roster and definitely inject some talent up there, or maybe just keep them down in NXT and keep NXT being the go-to for real wrestling fans these days, which is kind of the sad thing.
And if that person known as Nigel McGuinness wasn't injured, he'd be here already.
Yeah, pretty much. That's what I'm saying. I really hope I really hope that Joe, that they do hit some kind of deal with Joe, since he would be invaluable in NXT. Same thing with the Briscoes. And I just kind of really hope that they continue the influx, because it can't really do any harm. I mean, at least when it comes to NXT, because they're already a fairly strong product as it is, and they're only going to get stronger with these really good indie stars. If anything, then we might actually see something.
Why don't you hire the goddamn?
What did Project say?
Hire a goddamn entire Bullet Club. There you go. Saves you all the trouble.
In a perfect world, that would happen, but probably ain't gonna happen. But yeah, and who knows? Maybe we'll see some kind of almost a trickle up effect, where we might see some of these great indie guys maybe making an impact on the main roster and making it worth shit again.
I doubt that. Until Vince
a man can dream, good sir.
Unless they have 2 world titles again.
That would be great. Yeah, I'm kind of hoping once Lesnar loses the titles that they ununify them. So that'd be great.
Well, all I can say is one interesting fact that I can say is, think about the reason why we didn't get Samoa Joe. Stops, looks at Jim Ross, shakes his head. This was Jim Ross's fault. Don't forget this. We would have had Joe sooner if Jim Ross didn't drop the ball. what was that? One of the many times Jim Ross has dropped the ball in professional wrestling.
Pretty much, yeah.
He's dropped the ball a lot of times. Oh, wait, isn't there a third ROH guy they're looking at? Is it Adam Cole or is it somebody else?
I don't know. It might be Adam Cole.
Because there was a tag team, a tag team and then one other wrestler. It might be Adam Cole.
It'd be crazy as hell if it was Jay Lethal, because Jay Lethal be jamming. I mean, dude.
Oh my god, that would be awesome if they got Jay Lethal.
And then they could bring back Black Machismo.
Nah, they don't have to do that. They can they can bring back the WCW television title and turn it to WWE television title, and he'll defend it on TV every night.
But I'm just saying, I miss Black Machismo. Come
on. I like the House of Truth Jay Lethal for some reason.
I do too, but I just hate Martini.
Exactly. The only reason you hate Jay Lethal is because you hate Truth Martini.
Yeah, everyone hates Truth Martini. Like, I hear he's a cool guy,
but I hate
I just hear, like, yeah, it's one of those ones where I hear he's a cool guy, but you just hate him on the mic.
He's a great heel manager, but yeah, I hate hearing him talk. But maybe that's why he's such a great heel manager.
Maybe. But no, like, I gotta say, watching NXT lately, it's made me, like, so happy, because, like, I like a lot of these guys now. When, like, I was watching a lot of their matches in the indies, some of them didn't really captivate me until, like, Triple H started, like, helping them out. Because, like, I'm gonna still bag on Devitt. A lot of his stuff was kind of shaky when he was in New Japan until, like, the last year or so he was there. And, like, ever since he's come to WWE, he's, like, so clean right now. Like, I've never seen him really botch. Like, I've seen him botch, like, two moves, and it's always when he's doing a running drop kick into the corner, which is botchable by anyone almost. Like, even Daniel Bryan botches his drop kicks into the corner. So I can't really, like, shit on him for that, But, Kenta's great as Hideo Itami. I don't like the name. I prefer Kenta, but whatever, this is Vince's fault for that.
Yeah, don't forget Trips wanted to get Kenta to keep his name because of the name value. Nope. Vince had the final say.
Yeah,
this is one battle.
At least with Kevin Steen, the Owens makes freaking sense.
His name is Owen, and his Owen Hart is his favorite wrestler too. So it kind of it's a tribute kind of deal.
Yeah, so I can't really hate that. I'm okay with that.
Oh, here's one. I don't know if you guys reported this, but apparently, Bill DeMott was not a big fan of Kevin Owens, and apparently Triple H kind of like, you know what, Kevin Owens, do what you want. Fuck, don't listen to Bill. Because apparently Bill DeMott was the agent for the Kevin Owens match against CJ Parker, and he hated it, but then Triple H actually loved what happened.
Bill DeMott was a stickler for Vince McMahon ideology is that big men should not jump anymore. That's now a no-no. And Trips was like, hey, Vince, shut the fuck up. Bill, stop listening to Vince. Stop that. No. And so talent.
And Kevin, don't listen to Bill.
But now people are pissed at NXT because Triple H likes the NXT 5. Triple H has clicked that shit, and people are pissed at Trips. They're like, no click here, no. And people are pissed. Why do you think Sasha Banks hangs out with freaking Finn Balor? She's trying to get in the good so she doesn't have to get screwed. And Sasha's so afraid she's gonna get screwed. I'm sitting here, I'm like, listen, your best friend is Charlotte Flair, even though your enemy's on screen. I'm pretty sure you're not fucked. You have Charlotte. You just need to pull the ace in the hole of her father, and you're good. Like pretty much when you look at it, Triple H is like, I love the Divas, I love the NXT 5. Everything else can go to hell. When you look at it, I'm not gonna lie. I think the Briscoes could help because at least them and the Usos would have a cool rivalry. I mean, you have the Super Kick Kings right there. I mean, like, Briscoes are great Super Kick guys. I mean, I know everyone loves freaking the Young Bucks because, like, they're innovators of, like, super kicking bullcrap because, they're like the Rockers. They're like the modern age Rockers. But at the same time, a lot of their great – I'm going to say this right now. A lot of the great Young Bucks' super kick wars, were not just them kicking the shit out of their opponents, it was them getting kicked in the face by the Briscoes. And I'm pretty sure Project can agree with me that Young Bucks versus Briscoes were some of the best matches when they were having their run in ROH the first time. It was just abstract, the fact that they could super kick each other.
You give the Young Bucks a good tag team to go against, like the Briscoes, the Red Dragon, or like all that stuff, yeah.
And this is why I'm saying right now, to give the Briscoes up to the Usos, it's going to be super kick madness. Because these are tag teams that are innovators of the super kicks. Briscoes, Usos, Young Bucks, the Motor City Machine Guns, like these are names that I'm just saying in general that are super kick kings. I may not like the Young Bucks at this time as, people as much, but I mean, I like them as in-ring talent. I used to like them a lot in ROH, but as soon as they went to TNA, they changed into...
Impact Wrestling ruined it.
Impact Wrestling, I think, went to their head. When they went back to ROH after Impact, I don't know. I'm just not a fan of them as people for some reason. I'm a fan of them as competitors, but the people make me want to hate them as wrestlers as well. But that's a different story. It's I just gotta say, with the subject at hand, having Owens there is great. Having a lot of these guys there is great. The problem is I kind of wish Vince would be a lot more lenient and let Trips kind of help him out with that crap. Because I feel like the main roster...
Like on Raw and SmackDown.
I feel like Raw and SmackDown could be so much better. NXT could be so much better if they worked something out to get, more into promotion between the groups. I'm glad that now that, Trips is signing, old guys that he actually liked and he didn't bury. It was the company that buried them. Because he brought back Brian Kendrick and Rhino to help out, which is amazing. Which kind of proves to the naysayers that people say Triple H is the man that killed Brian Kendrick's career in WWE. That just shows bullshit on them because he hired back Brian Kendrick. If Triple H if Triple H meant to kill Brian's career, why would he rehire him? Right? Right there. You see what I'm saying? Why would he bring him back to work with these guys?
Yeah.
What were you saying, Project?
No, yeah, no doubt.
I like the 5. I like the NXT 5. They're the best part about it. Bringing in Joe, bringing in the Briscoes is great. I think the only thing I will hate, Joe will go to NXT probably just to build him up there. But at the same time, I feel like he's the exception where he should not go to NXT. He should actually get the clean pass right up. I mean, he's done it long enough. He's a big name. He's well known across the United States, not just because of Impact Wrestling, that he is a name in his own right, that he should just get on the main roster. It's just like when they were considering, when they had the Bobby Roode deal.
Have him debut in New York or Philadelphia. There you go.
Exactly.
That instant pop right there on TV.
The best place would be a good place would be SummerSlam in Brooklyn. That's close. That's a good place to do it. But
no doubt.
But I can say right now is Joe, or should I say anyone who is a big name in TNA, should get a free pass, a free hall pass up to the main roster. If they ever sign Bobby Roode, if they ever get that option again to get Bobby Roode, like they had back last year or 2 years ago, do it. If they ever get a deal to get Austin Aries, do it. Even if they got Eric Young and he's not even going to be treated as a big deal, just do it anyways. It's fucking Eric Young. I mean, he's a good workhorse, even though he played a retard most of his career. He was more competent than the character of Eugene. He's relatable.
Or Santino.
Yeah. Eric Young's relatable. He's entertaining. And he's a great in-ring general. I mean, when he was Eric Young of the Elite, yeah, that was a really good Eric Young. That was
or even the Eric or whatever.
Like Project, that was like Miz if he was in his 40s, I would say. Because Miz is underrated until he won the belt, and then we were like, oh, hey, you're cool now, I really love what's going on right now. I always look forward to watching NXT, and I always look forward to seeing these guys come to the main roster, even if their characters are killed. Like the best example, the Ascension. one of the best tag teams that were destroyed because of the main roster. Emma destroyed because of the main roster, and now they're making a big ordeal about it on NXT. Triple H took the idea of Emma now being disgruntled with the main roster because how they made her character. So now she's bitching and moaning in NXT about what she had to do because of up there upstairs. So I'm going to say that's a pop shot at McMahon in general. It's kind of weird, right, guys? Like, Trips has actually taken a few pop shots at Vince now by using Emma.
Why not?
Isn't that interesting, though?
I think it's interesting, yes.
All right. Any other things we have to say? Nothing else? Anything? Any last words? Samoa Joe, Briscoe, NXT 5, Alexa Bliss.
That'd be great. Or, they could get Velvet Sky back, maybe.
No, Metal, we found out WWE has a huge thing against tattoos now.
Well, then screw them.
Remember now, Paige could not get a tattoo. That means Velvet Sky couldn't be hired now because of her tattoos. Isn't that funny, the project? Velvet Sky cannot be hired because we found out there's a tattoo policy for the women in the division.
It depends on what tattoos you have.
Yeah, you can't. But because of how Velvet's are, she might not be able to get hired. Because she just has too many on her arm. I think now the category is you can't be tattooed out like Lita. Or any degree a little bit less.
Unless you're Lita or like...
Yeah, there's some weird policy now, but nevertheless, yeah, let's wrap up our show, I think. Right, Visible Ninja?
Right.
Alright, Visible Ninja, where can we find you on social media?
You follow me on Twitter at Visible Ninja 1, Instagram Visible Ninja 0, and of course on YouTube.
Twitter at Project RDM, Instagram at Project 1.
Alright, Wheelchair21 on Twitter and YouTube. Taja_Doyle on Instagram. You can check out this podcast in association with Raiju Nihon and Hirotaku. You can like both Hirotaku and Raiju Nihon on Facebook. You can follow WRW the podcast on Twitter, as well as RN and Hirotaku. Anyways, this has been the 3rd episode of Season 4. We'll see you next week with a brand new episode. WrestleMania is close. It's 2 weeks away. Anyways, we'll see you then.